Hello guys, this is Dual Sport Girl, and today on the occasion of World EV Day, I wanted to feature my very own family member, the MG ZS EV. And today I'm going to take a review of my brother who is going to talk about it. This is my brother here who has recently got the ZS EV. I would like to ask you a few questions. I hope you would like to share it as well.
Hi guys, first of all, happy World EV Day. This year MG will be celebrating its 100th year of car making, and even we are celebrating World EV Day.
This is our second EV in the house. Our first EV was our Ola S1 Pro, and then later we moved to a car which was EV. So Nihal, I would like to ask you three basic questions. First one was, how did you run to a conclusion that you want to turn towards buying an EV?
Conventionally, all of our family has been a petrol head. We started our biking and scooting early on in our ages. But as the prices soar, the price cutting and everyday usage was getting tremendously expensive. So unfortunately, one fine day, I had to switch from my KTM 200 to a electric bike. That was Ola S1 Pro. Initially, it was not a very good decision considering how sporty the bike was, but once I got used to it, even Ola was quite a fun.
Alright, but in terms of varying it towards the reach or what kind of range an EV gives you in general, and for the kind of range which you get otherwise towards the petrol, how has been your experience?
Petrol can't be compared with the EV. EV is for a specific use case. If you have a local usage, and which necessarily means you will be commuting to local places for a short distance of time, and you will be having some charging infrastructure available from your point A to point B, then it might help you. But I will make a point that EV is not for everyone. Still today, the charging infrastructure has not too much developed, but it is manageable. If you can manage a charger at your home and at your office, you can easily live a life with your EV in a city like Mumbai.
Alright, so the third question, again a question which all of them want to ask usually for every EV owner, is how happy are you with your current product?
As far as the two-wheelers go, I was one of the early adopters. I even got the FAME 2 subsidies, which was something 34,000-ish subsidy, which was given to us. But to be very frank, cost effectively, EVs are not very much cost effective. It has a fun element to it. You can ride it, you can enjoy it. If you use it frequently, if you have a heavy usage, then EV will suit you. Or else I will suggest, if you are someone who just parks your bike at a station and travels to a 2-3 kilometer every day, then I think EV is not for you. Anyone who is traveling upwards of 50 kilometers every day, EV is definitely for you.
Alright, those were the basic questions. But another set of questions is of anyone who wants to opt for an EV newly. And the questions arise right from where will they charge it, how to get permissions to install a charger, what were your difficulties, and how have you dealt with it?
Fortunately, unfortunately, my transition to EV was very much planned. Since I bought my new home, from day one I knew that I had to buy an EV. So accordingly, I bought a home at ground floor. Fortunately, my builder had a parking available on ground floor next to my house. So I could transfer the electric connections from my house to my parking place. And after that, when I bought my car, I had to go for an electric charging meter also. EV meter are quite simple to get. Process are not that hectic. People are still not opting for it, but the service provider, which for us was MECB, people were not very much friendly. But if you are known with the paperwork, if you do some little due diligence, spare a day or few for your work, you can get it done even in 2 days. I myself got it done in 2 days with no extra payments paid to anyone, no brokerage fees paid, no extra expenses, cash expenses incurred at all.
Alright, but what will you suggest for a person who is living on a upper floor, say probably a 10th or 12th floor, but who also has a dedicated parking. Since you already are a part of a municipal corporation group, I'm guessing you must be aware about what kind of permissions are required for the same.
Upcoming builders are coming with EV charging infrastructure in society only. So builders are very happy to provide you with the EV facility as a part of your monthly expenses and maintenance also. But if your society is not having the infrastructure currently, then you can always opt for some infrastructures which can be developed from your own electric meters. Tata Power, Reliance Energy, and even Mahanagar MSELD, all are happy to help you out with this, and the green initiative is very high among themselves as well. I would like to make a point that if you apply for a EV meter, you can get your EV meter sanctioned and installed within 7 days. It is mandatory for them to get it installed in 7 days. All the process is online, all the charges need to be paid are online, and rest installation part is something which you will need to figure out early only. You will need a proper electrician who can guide you with it, and basic infrastructure cost will be there, some meter connection charges will be there, and 2 to 3,000 max 4,000 5,000 charge will be there, which are all consumables. There is nothing involved in paying anyone.
Okay. What has been your usage in terms of range for this EV? How much have you driven so far, and how has been your usage considering our kind of larger family?
Initially, when I started using the EV, my EV transition started with my scooty. Every day I used to commute to my office. My office is something 12 kilometers from here, and at that time I had almost three bikes and one scooter as well. So steadily and slowly I stopped using all of my petrol vehicles, as efficiency was always a factor, fun to drive was always a factor for me, and safety was also a factor for me. So slowly but steadily I stopped using my other bikes and I switched to EV car recently. Previously I was a proud Maruti owner. Before that I had a Tata. I have seen Nexon. Some of my friends have been using Nexon for 5 years. I have seen the good, bad and bitter days for them. At that time I decided if I need to buy a electric car, it better need to be properly time tested. So I took my time. I spent almost 4 years waiting for it, and after that I bought this MG.
And how has MG treated you so far?
MG experience was very nice. All the dealers were very happy and more than happy to give you test drive and everything. Test drive wise, after sales wise, sales and service wise, MG dealerships, they try to please you a lot. And the only downside which I faced with the MG was they were not ready to negotiate any kind of offers. Only offers which they offer are on topmost models. So if you're planning to buy a top model MG, you might get some offers, but mid and lower variants don't have any kind of offers.
Okay, that was a very honest review about it. But yeah, let me just tell you guys very clearly, this is not a paid initiative or a paid collaboration. We have spent enough amount of time taking this decision, and after taking this decision, he has bought the car.
I have used almost all the electric vehicles available in the market currently. I have driven Hyundai. I have one of my friend has a Nexon, which we were commuting regularly to office. So we have used it for quite a while, almost 1 complete year we have been carpooling ourselves. So I have driven it a lot. I have seen the bad phases. I have seen how Tata helps their customers in customer service. I myself was a Tata customer. I have seen many cases with that. That's why Tata was a little bit reliability issues. But on the flip side, some of my friends even switched to ZS EV 3 to 4 years back, and they were still getting the claimed range. There was not a performance drop, anything. I know you might sound this that he is promoting only MG, but genuinely speaking, guys, MG service is quite good. Currently I don't have a service center near me, but I never feel that I will need a service center. Currently they are offering me a 7 years of on-road assistance along with 7 years and 1.5 lakh kilometers warranty. It is something which I won't even need. My general car in 7 years drives something around about 70,000-ish. So to be very frank with this, they have made sure that the product is properly placed, the product is properly researched, and they are doing all their best to take care of us.
All right, then I guess we have tried to touch down the basic queries what you come across as. The last and foremost, will you still recommend buying an EV to everyone?
EV is not for everyone. If you have a proper charging infrastructure, if you have more of a city or a mixed usage of say 150 to 200 kilometers, you can easily opt for it. Something about which I will be cribbing about is charging infrastructure. Many locations are offering chargers, but the chargers are not functional. Government is not taking much care of them. Even I have seen some companies who are saying that we have so many X number of chargers, but practically speaking, chargers are only physically installed; they are not working. So such kind of charging infrastructure is of no use. But on the other side, I see high-end car manufacturers like Audi, Mercedes also taking interest in charging infrastructure and developing very high-speed chargers. If all the manufacturers together take this initiative to develop the charging infrastructure, EVs might be the next future for Indian transport.
I guess we are transforming towards EV then. All right, Nihal.
All
So
right,
this
guys,
is
thank you.
my brother. I'm dual sport girl, and yes, he has always been my strongest support to be a dual sport girl. Thank you, Nihal.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Do let us know how did you find this honest opinion and review on this World EV Day from my family. If you like this, please do comment and subscribe and share.